Claressa on another victory. You put on a boxing masterclass, says Remy's husband, Papoose, okay? Wow. From the way you interact with your family down to being a perfectionist when it comes to your craft, all good, okay? You are a true queen, true gaslighting, my opinion, okay? You being mentioned with the all-time greats is overdue and well-deserved. You did for women's boxing what many have attempted, completely sold out an arena, and they all came to see the GOAT, okay? Glad I'm able to add value, says Papoose, Remy's husband, from behind the scenes executive standpoint.
Everyone needs to slow down for a moment and really take in what this story has become. What started as a few online posts and rumors has grown into one of the most talked about celebrity dramas of recent times. This is no longer just a headline or a quick clip on social media. It is a long emotional journey that played out in front of millions of people, with real feelings, real choices, and real consequences behind every moment. For months, people believed they were watching a bold love story unfold. They saw confidence, passion, and a woman who looked like she was living without fear. Claressa Shields stood in front of cameras and screens with her head held high. She spoke like someone who had already won. She made it clear to the world that she believed she had taken another woman's husband and turned him into her future. She did not say it quietly. She did not hide behind vague words. She repeated it openly, again and again, as if she was daring anyone to challenge her. Every time she went live, every interview she gave, and every post she shared carried the same message. She wanted the world to see her as strong, unbothered, and proud of the path she had chosen. Her confidence became her brand. People who followed her felt like they were watching a reality show where every episode came with a new twist. The internet could not turn away. Social media turned the situation into a daily discussion. Some people supported Claressa and admired how fearless she seemed. They saw her as someone who did not care about judgment and lived life on her own terms. Others were deeply critical and felt her actions crossed lines that should never be crossed. But no matter which side people stood on, they kept watching. It felt like a story that refreshed itself every day. There was the married man in the middle, a famous wife who stayed mostly silent, and Claressa, who filled the internet with her voice and presence. At first, it felt like entertainment for many viewers. People joked about it, argued in comment sections, and predicted how it would end. Some thought it would turn into a public breakup. Others believed it would lead to a dramatic divorce and a new relationship in the spotlight. But behind the scenes, something very different was happening. While Claressa was building a loud and colorful image online, the marriage she believed was over was not completely broken. Remy Ma, the woman at the center of the original relationship, did not respond in the same way. She did not rush to social media to defend herself. She did not write long captions explaining her side. She did not turn her private life into public content. Instead, she chose silence. And in this story, that silence became powerful. People close to the situation claimed that while Claressa was focused on showing her happiness to the world, Remy was working quietly behind closed doors. She spent time with family. She had private conversations. She tried to rebuild trust and fix what had been damaged in her marriage. There were no announcements, no public displays, just real life happening away from the spotlight.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, let me see. How much is those tax liens? Remy currently has $622,474.76. Guess who's gonna pay it? Guess who's gonna pay it? The one, according to her own cousin.
Spotlight. Then one day everything shifted. Without warning, the man Claressa believed was her future suddenly left. There was no emotional farewell post. There was no public message explaining what went wrong. He simply packed his bags, booked a flight to New York, and disappeared from her life. For Claressa, the change was sudden and shocking. She was left with unanswered calls, messages that were never opened, and millions of people watching her every move. The same audience that once cheered her confidence now studied her expressions, her words, and her body language. At first, she tried to keep up the same image. She continued posting. She went live. She smiled for the camera. She spoke like nothing had changed. But something felt different. Her energy was not as light. Her words sounded more careful. The joy that once seemed natural now felt forced. People noticed. Fans began comparing her older videos to the new ones. They looked closely at her outfits, her poses, and the places she visited. Then something strange caught their attention. They started seeing similarities between Claressa's style and Remy's. Side-by-side photos began spreading online. Both women wearing similar clothes, similar jewelry, similar hairstyles, even the same photo angles and poses. What once looked like confidence started to feel like imitation. The conversation changed. People stopped calling Claressa bold and fearless. They began using words like focused, fixated, and lost. The story moved away from being about a love triangle and turned into a discussion about identity, pressure, and what happens when someone builds their whole image around another person. Then came a moment that shocked almost everyone watching. Claressa reportedly got the man's name tattooed on her body while he was still legally married. For many people, this crossed a line. It did not look romantic. It looked heavy and permanent. It felt like a mark that could not be erased, even if the relationship ended. The contrast made the situation even more painful. The man already had his wife's name tattooed on his body, a sign of a real legal bond. Claressa's tattoo, on the other hand, was tied to a relationship that was already falling apart. While Claressa was making headlines, Remy stayed quiet. Then suddenly photos appeared online. Family gatherings, smiling faces at home, matching wedding rings, the same house, the same life, the same marriage. No long captions were needed. No explanations were given. The images spoke for themselves. The man had gone back to his wife. As people were still processing this, a new voice entered the story and changed everything again. Tasha K went live and made claims that turned the entire narrative upside down. According to her, the luxury lifestyle people saw online was not being paid for by the man. It was being funded by Claressa herself. She claimed the designer bags, the jewelry, and the expensive gifts shown on camera were bought by Claressa, then handed to the man so he could gift them back to her in videos. If true, it meant the romance people believed in was not natural. It was staged for the internet. One detail made the story spread even faster. A receipt. Sources said Claressa went shopping alone, bought a luxury bag, posted about it, and then later filmed a moment where the same bag was presented to her as a surprise gift. Once that claim started circulating, people went into full detective mode. They replayed videos, paused frames, and analyzed every romantic moment. What once looked sweet now felt planned. The woman who had proudly said she took another woman's husband was now being seen as someone who paid for her own proof of love. And the man she defended so strongly was now being described as someone who depended on women for support, while quietly returning to his marriage when things became uncomfortable. Claressa did not step back when the criticism grew. She pushed forward. She went live more often. She posted more messages. She tried harder to show the world she was still strong and in control. But the tone around her had changed. The comments were no longer jokes. They were filled with concern. People stopped treating the situation like entertainment and started seeing real pain behind the screen. Her confidence seemed fragile. Her pride looked like a shield. The sparkle that once drew people in now felt dim. Meanwhile, Remy continued living her life quietly. She did not post about winning. She did not attack anyone. She shared moments with her family. She showed her home. She kept her wedding ring on her hand. Without saying a single word, she sent a clear message. She never truly left. As time passed, people close to Claressa claimed she was not just losing a man. She was losing a version of herself. For months, her identity had been tied to being chosen, being the future, being the one who won. When that dream fell apart, everything connected to it came down too. Her posts became more emotional. Her live streams became longer. Her words felt heavier. People said they could see sadness behind her smiles and frustration in her voice. The internet's tone shifted again. People no longer called her fearless. They started calling her heartbreaking. Some comments were harsh. They said she had traded her dignity for attention. that she had built her world around someone who was never truly available, that she had chased an image instead of a real connection. And through all of this, the man at the center of the story stayed silent. He did not explain. He did not apologize. He did not defend himself. He simply returned to his wife, his home, and the life he had before all of this became public. That silence became the loudest part of the entire situation. By the end, many people stopped seeing this as a simple love triangle. They began to see it as a lesson, a warning about confusing online attention with real affection, a reminder that building dreams on someone who is not fully present can lead to deep disappointment. Claressa had invested in a fantasy. She defended it. She marked herself for it. She showed it to the world. And when reality arrived, it did not gently tap on the door. It wiped the whole picture away. Remy, on the other hand, never fought for attention. She never competed for the spotlight. She waited in silence. And in the end, she quietly took her life back. As this chapter of the story closes, one truth stands out to everyone who followed it closely. This was never only about love. It was about pride, image, control, and the power of silence. The loudest voice lost its strength. The quiet presence held its ground. And the man walked back into the life he never truly left behind. The story may pause here, but the conversation is far from finished. People are still searching for details. New claims continue to surface. More voices are stepping forward. And when the next part of this story breaks, the world will be watching once again.